Okay, in light of recent events on YouTube, just browsing different communities, seeing how different people behave and run their shows, run their live streams, upload the videos, the styles and all that. It's just, like I've said before, the mindsets and psychology, the human mind does fascinate me a little. And I just want to say one thing about conspiracy theory. Um, Individuals who are high up in power will be prone, rather not do, because that's too blanketed a term. I think because it's just human nature, they will be prone to becoming addicted to their level of power. To maintain that feedback, the dopamine hit that they're so happy with their level of power, they're going to do unwise and perhaps immoral things to maintain that power, because that's what addiction does to people. You do any, depending on how addicted you are, I guess. You do anything to get it. You get the dopamine hits. Human nature is a drug addict in many ways. In so many ways in which many people don't realize or understand as well. Um, but paranoid, foolish individuals get on the jump on the bandwagon of that and claim everything's a conspiracy. See, this is what happens. This is why conspiracy theorists, if you're a conspiracy theorist, it's seen in a very bad light, because they, as an individual said on Facebook and other, let's post it somewhere else. This guy said, conspiracy theorists make things up. Critical thinkers try to find the answer, right? Critical thinkers try to find the answer. Conspiracy, and that's very true to a larger degree. I mean, if you've got a theory on something, make sure it's backed up on things that are not out of emotion too much. We can all be emotional. I think people talk about emotion versus, the mind versus the heart and all that. Really, those two things are there to be used in a symbiotic relationship together. You can't cull one over the other. But just make sure there's enough balance there that one supports the other. I think, I don't mean to sound too esoteric there, but I think you get the idea. Um, so in short, that there's often been throughout history things leaked out about people. They've done unwise things, and people have theorised that they're doing this and that. They then can't be trusted, and so those individuals were theorising that these unwise people were conspiring. So there's a conspiracy theory. But today, for the most part, if you use that term, it is looked in at a bad light, because there are so many people jumped on the bandwagon of complete foolishness, complete idiocy. Now, I believe some weird stuff. Have my reasons to, from my personal experiences. I don't sit at home and Google and just say, "Yeah, I told you so. Must be true," because there it is on Google. That's just really silly. Um, been out there and met people who have talked about strange things here and there, and seen other things, seen things myself that might somewhat back up some of these oddities. I might talk about these in a separate video one day. Um, I used to write about some things about the UFO stuff out there, in which a lot of talk on. That's another fringe bandwagon, which there's some truth to, but people have jumped on it and ruined the whole thing. And just what I just said there, people's viewpoint is coloured because of all the idiocy that's gone on with that, and they go, "So you believe in aliens then?" No, I didn't say that. I said I was interested in UFO stuff. UFO means an unidentified flying object. However, to play devil's advocate, I think it's possible because of many other things that people I've collaborated with, talked to here and there, and I think they're very credible people. And it's surprising these very intelligent people come out with actually thinking that some of these objects could be ET in origin, extraterrestrial in origin. And that begs a bigger picture as to how do they get here? The distances are too vast. I don't blurt these things out in a denial of our scientific prowess, in which it's understood that mass can't travel faster than light, but mass can't. But if you override the inertia that mass has on with its surroundings, the space being curved by mass, if there's some way to override that, then you can actually go fast as you like. And the physicists are theorizing how that could be possible. It's just, but then they say it probably wouldn't be practical because it requires too much energy. But there's all kinds of viewpoints on that. I don't fully understand all of those, of course. I'm not a brain box, but it's interesting. But another thing about I think it is for the most part, BS on the alien abduction thing. I think that's another cloudy misconception, erroneous bunch of crap that's on that bandwagon. When people start believing that, some of those people are individuals who also have experienced sleep paralysis. I've experienced a little bit very temporarily, and if you panic go and look up sleep paralysis, and you'll see all kinds of stuff on it. There's books written on it. You could look on the internet with it, go in a library. There's information on this. It's easy to get to. What happens is, during sleep, your body is paralyzed normally once you're in the dream state. The reason this happens is it's a safeguard just in case you don't act out your dreams. Sometimes this whole mechanism goes wrong. This is why people sleepwalk. This is why some people actually become awake and eyes open, but the brain's still in the dreaming mode, more or less, and yet they're halfway in the environment, the waking world environment. They see the surroundings. They start to panic a bit because they can't move, and then a nightmare is induced because of the fear. If a nightmare is induced because of the fear, and it's an individual who's heard all these stories about abduction, that's the nightmare you're going to have. But the UFO thing is, there was a lot of military witnesses coming forward, and it's again cloudy and difficult to talk about because there's people you couldn't trust here and there. But if you researched those individuals, they were military. They weren't just actors, they were accused of being actors by other people. But you look at statistics and you look at the who, what, why, when, and where. Who were they? What did they do in their position? who else were they involved with, and what did they do, the ones they're involved with, or would they write any books on anything? And these are very, very credible people, MODs, people, Department of Defense, Army, military, it's just, and they're all talking about being witnesses to some of these oddities. And some of these people actually put forward a ET hypothesis on some of these things as well. They're well aware of how perception can be fooled as well, tricks of light and so on. Of course, there's the famous Roswell case, but really there was another case in the UK that should have got a lot more limelight and should have been as famous as this Roswell thing as well, because there was some really weird things going on with that. Does it mean it was ET in origin? I don't know. I do not. I'm not going to say it was. But the witnesses think that whatever they was doing at this, it sounds like it was a nuclear storage base, but American nuclear storage in the UK actually. So they didn't want the public to know that at the time. If you look at if the information from the witnesses is to be taken word for word, that's what it sounds like, and even experts who have looked at things like that, just these are not crazy people jumping to a conspiracy conclusion, but they have said whatever they was doing there brought in a response from something or someone, who knows, but these things could be more terrestrial, from a very terrestrial secret group, perhaps. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it's a possibility. And I'm not paranoid enough to think that all of these oddities are evil either, or nasty, or that everything is a conspiracy. It is all mostly just theory on some of these things. Theories of consciousness come into all this. It's fascinating. But when people jump on the bandwagon and claim that, ETs are here to do all these nasty things, and there's a secret cahoot with all the governments around the world, and that's when you just lose it. You just lose any credibility. The geoengineering, the atmosphere, and all this crap isn't really backed up. You just keep your eyes on the goal, talk to credible witnesses, find out what they said, and connect the dots, and you think, yeah, there is something to this at its core. There's something going on here, and because it's so fringe, it will involve fringe things and fringy things people do, and then you just got to keep your feet on the ground with all that. And a lot of these paranoid individuals as well have let trolls rent space in their mind. Everyone's a troll, everyone's part of the cabal, everyone's a conspiracy, part of the conspiracy to them, right? Unless they, until they go, oh, think I might have been wrong about this, that. But they're too self-important and egotistic, and they're woke, they're woken. Fuck right off. I don't see people who are woke or enlightened. It's just something. I know we're all trying to get there in our own ways. I think be enlightened, be informed. Doesn't have to be. You don't have to be enlightened via a spiritual experience either. You don't have to be spiritual to be interested in spiritual experiences either. You actually don't. You just be interested in the analysing how is this experience generated and how it makes you feel and so on. What is consciousness? These things. And spirituality is not religion, by the way. Religion is religion. Spiritual is spiritual. spiritualists don't worship, although they might believe in a god, they don't tend to worship a god. You know, I don't see it. The two things are very different, two aspects. In fact, would go as far to say religion is very anti-spiritual because it tends to box in very structured ways of thinking and beliefs that are good programming to run in very structured behaviors, I think, rather than the opposite. Spirituality is very much more open and experimenting with different experiences, not necessarily drugs, but there's that as well with the LSD and a dimethyltryptamine. People who doing that tend to be perhaps some kind of spiritual outlook on the world and end up being fascinated with consciousness as well and so on. All kinds of ways in which you can see, reframe all these things. And the point is, overall blanketing point is there's no smoke without fire. Every one of these things out there has a grain of truth, but when people jump on it for a quick buzz and egotistically say I'm woke because I've had this experience, I know about this, I know about that, therefore I must be woke and informed and so on. When you get that egotistic, you're not maintaining. You know, you should have some maintenance of what's inside. As I said in the previous video, otherwise you're projecting out what's inside. You're colouring your worldview with what's in there, and with no one maintaining the craft that is flying. If no pilot present to see maintaining the inside, then you're going to crash on the outside. That's a metaphor. Metaphors are fun and useful to use there, I think, because it helps collapse context down into a picture or image or a storyline that people can understand, they can all relate to. I hope you can see my point there. Is if there's no maintenance, then you're projecting onto the world all the fear of whatever you fear out there on the world. Look at Alex Jones. Everything is a conspiracy to him. Everything. He's said some bullshit about everyone from the UK is I don't know what he called us, but we're all some kind of cult. Everyone born here says once something like that, and it just really is pathetic. Sometimes though, these individuals get things really right. Naive individuals might jump on that and say, "See, he is credible. He's right about this and that." I mean, when you put out shitloads of content and you're that paranoid, you're going to be right about something somewhere. Doesn't mean you can be right about. No one's wrong about everything. Although I'm beginning to think that might actually be possible. Actually, at this point, how after everything I've seen this year online and offline, and people I've met in person, I'm willing to bet perhaps some individuals out there will get so warped they'll be obsessed with getting things wrong. They want to be getting things wrong for some reason, whatever, I don't know. It just really is weird how broken we can be once we stop and claim, oh, we don't need to fix our inner self anymore because we're there. We're awoken. We're the woken crowd. We know everything. We got to preach to the world now. Where they gone wrong? That's pathetic. No one on the planet is that perfect. It doesn't happen. Certainly not with humans. We are a species that is psychotic and broken in multiple ways. And I think one of the things that drives this is our tribalistic tendencies. That I think sometimes tribalism is a good thing, but it's applied in very erroneous, unwise, and foolish ways to try and look like the victim, just for attention, to get support when you're not the victim, and so on. It's just the snowflakes of the world, right? People who are never admitting they're wrong and they're always right cannot be trusted whatsoever. I think sometimes I'm a bit insane, but I was told the other day I was talking about sanity and these things the other day, well, a few weeks ago actually, not the other day, in a public bar. And I had a chap drinking at the bar. He said, "Yeah, we're all insane, but that's what makes you sane when you admit it." And it brings it home again to, if you admit it, then you're trying to maintain things. You're trying to fix things inside and fix as you go along, and some things might just be missed here and there. And it's good to listen carefully to other people's opinions, sometimes to point out your own errors and take it on board. It's not because they necessarily hate you, it's because they're pointing out, hey, that's a wrong thing to do because of, and so on. Constructive criticism is something that a lot of these woke crowd cannot take. They're not woke. They're fast asleep, not looking inside. Most of them, I would say. Perhaps there's one or two here and there, but that's when they stop going, "Hey, I'm woke. I'm this. I'm that. I'm special. Oh, you fuck. Yeah, you're a special case." Particularly one individual actually recently, and well, two individuals. They're just perfect example. One of these was one of the ones that claimed Cheshire was a hacker. The other one was appointed to expose the accuser for hateful lies about other people, her twisted half-truths and so on. And that person clearly has become too egotistic again, and become just like that mindset. He thinks he's woke, thinks he's so smart, he thinks his shit doesn't stink. In fact, he's so far up his own ass looking for daylight, all he's finding is his own shit. Thanks for watching. Take care. Peace out, and I look forward to doing another video soon. Hopefully, I want to do something more positive. This wasn't really a negative one. It's just giving my thoughts on the terms of conspiracy theory and what people think, how that's coloured their worldview of people who are interested in a conspiracy theory here and there. The ones who are interested in a conspiracy theory are sane enough, but the ones who are claiming that they are a conspiracy theorist, there's something wrong going on there, I think. Anyway, peace out. Take care, and like I say, I look forward to doing another video soon. Cheers, bye.